You stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
Well, we appreciate your patience. We are live here for the Midday Racing League. We're rocking the Xfinity cars, round 7 out of 7 for these guys. And, well, I tell you what, it's going to be an absolute blast here today. We've got 100 laps, 150 miles, and some of the best in the service getting ready to do battle at this gorgeous facility here in Concord, North Carolina. We take a look here at some of our race facts here. It says the track length there is 1.45. This thing's never accurate with that. It's a 1.5 miles on the dot. Could be more if you're up against the wall, but got a track temp of 81 degrees. running late at night. It shouldn't differ too much from the weather temps. You see one up in the wall there in the background. A partly cloudy night also helps that track temp stay low. And I tell you what, this should be a pretty fun show as we watch these guys finish up practice. We'll go ahead and throw on who is quickest so far. Garrett Kinder, actually unbeatable since he's showed up to this league, holds the fastest time with a 30:34. And Craig Davidson, guy who's leading the Xfinity points right now, trying to do a little bit better in the overall compared to Mike Hamlin, who will in moments here. Davidson is leading the Xfinity points, hoping to bring home that championship, although it seems like the overall championship is going to go to Mike Hamlin. He's got himself seems to be insurmountable there, but for right now, 3 minutes left in practice. Let's take a look here at the 14. Yet to put down a lap here, or a proper lap. Got down finish line. Improves to a 30:58. And they're going to be about 2.5 tenths slower than Garrett Kinder, who, like we said, has been virtually unbeatable since he showed up. He's started 4 races in this Xfinity Series and has won 3 of them. Or rather, 3 and 2, I mean. 3 starts, 2 wins, and 3 top 5. So I expect him to finish up front. But we know Craig Davidson has been pretty quick throughout the course of this thing. He's going to come out here in that Spirit Airlines Ford Mustang. And I tell you what, while Spirit Airlines is a budget airline, these guys have clearly shown that they're not a budget race team. They've shown up with speed. They've got stats to back it up, as he has in this Xfinity Series. 5 top 5s out of 5 starts. Misfortune has not fallen the way of this number 9 Ford Mustang. He's hoping a little bit more comes his way throughout the race tonight, as he's got a 4-point gap to try to hold on to this championship. Second place in that, Rick is not too far behind on the timesheets here. As we look at him actually in 3rd place. Sitting right behind Davidson as we get ready to end the qualifying, or rather practice session here. Go ahead and let you hear some of the sounds as we finish out this practice session. That's going to go ahead and end the practice here. We've got 8 guys getting ready for qualifying. A couple guys might still join us here, but for right now, we've got Joe Nelson getting out onto the racetrack here. He's going to be the first guy to try to put down a lap. Rick Helms is actually out on the racetrack right now. Nelson not quite there. Garrett Kinder and Dave Hunt both getting to the racetrack as quick as they possibly can. Meanwhile, the 3-try 75 holds down to that inside, coming up off of turn number 2. Doesn't want to get an unsafe pit exit. Rick Helms Going to try to get everything he can here on this qualifying run. We've also got Garrett Kinder getting up off the racetrack, onto the racetrack. Dave Hunt sitting between turn 1 and 2, now coming up off of turn number 2. Rick Helms, the first one to take down a lap in what is the only session of qualifying here, 5 minutes. Chris Papa has gotten onto the racetrack as well as Craig Davidson. So now Rick Helms out here putting down the first lap. About halfway through, Garrett Kinder works his way through turns 1 and 2, that we know has been quick. Dave Hunt just beginning his lap, but Rick Helms is going to come out of turn number 4. Let's see what he can put down as the first qualifying lap of the session. 30.71 right now. That's not quite fast enough to be what he needs. Let's take a look to see what Garrett Kinder's going to be putting down. I think based on practice times, a 30.71 isn't going to stick. And let's see what Kinder puts down, a 91. So that's actually 0.2 slower. Not what I expected. Dave Hunt puts down a lap of 30.78. That's going to put him on second place. So we got Chris Papa coming through 3 and 4 right now, trying to gather momentum. Rick Helms has finished his second lap, goes at 30.80. Let's see what Garrett Kinder has coming up off of turn number 4. Holds down to the inside. Where does he jump? A 30.49 up to the pole. Dave Hunt comes across the line. Where is he going to finish? He's going to hold on to third place that time around. Chris Papa working through turns 3 and 4 right now. I tell you what, Dave Hunt, he was 30.78 both times around. Chris Papa, 30.94 the first time. Let's see what he's got this second time around. Can he jump up to the front 2 rows? A couple of hundredths quicker puts him to third place. Mike Hamlin, meanwhile, is a similar spot to where we left off with Chris Papa. Coming up off of turn number 2, trying to get everything he can to get a pole time. Garrett Kinder currently has that. Craig Davidson coming up off of 4. He's going to come down and take his second lap. And he's going to jump up into second place with a 68. Let's see what Mike Hamlin does. Christian Ruse jumps up with a 68 on his first time. Mike Hamlin comes out with a 57 to take second place. Now Christian Ruse on his second lap. Can he improve? So far, all but Joe Nelson have qualified, and I tell you what, Joe Nelson has put down the most laps in terms of practice this time around, but still yet to take a qualifying lap. Christian Ruse sideways just a little bit through the corner. Let's see what he can do. Can he improve? Just a touch, a 30.71. No, actually, that's not an improvement. A touch slower. Craig Davidson did the same thing, and Joe Nelson is currently the only one who has yet to put down a qualifying lap. So, as we watch Craig Davidson pull into the pits, we'll go right ahead and kind of take a scenic shot here of the Charlotte Motor Speedway and gear up to get ready for some racing in just, I'm not sure what we're looking at there. It looks like we're underground. Oh, these scenic cameras don't look very pretty, and I apologize for that. But we're getting ready to start the race up pretty quick here. About 20 seconds remaining in qualifying. Then we're going to get these guys gridded up. We've got 8 of the best daytime Xfinity racers here. And can't tell you how much we appreciate you joining us here on the Sim Racing Media YouTube channel for the Midday Racing League. These guys are going to put on a show for us at one of the best racetracks on the service. It's narrow. It's 1.5 miles, so it seems like a cookie cutter, but it is so narrow, and these walls jump out at you coming up out of them. It's really going to be a tough challenge for these eight drivers, especially guys that are running for championships. Guys like Craig Davidson, guys like, well, Mike Hamlin is pretty far in front in his, but maybe hoping to gain some spots here on Davidson, but these guys get ready to grid. Garrett Kinder, he's going to sit on the pole here. And while we have a moment, we're going to go ahead and bring up your qualifying results here. Sorry for the question marks there up at the top. This is the final round of the Xfinity Series here in Charlotte. Garrett Kinder is on the pole with a 34.91. Mike Hamlin not too far off of there, not even a 10th. Craig Davidson sits in third place with Christian Ruse on his outside. Rick Helms and Chris Papa make up round number 3. And then we've got Dave Hunt and Joe Nelson rounding out the field. And like I mentioned, Joe Nelson has put down the most laps in practice, so expect him to maybe have something for this long run, especially if we wind up not seeing cautions, which, given an 8-car field, that is a possibility. We might not see very many caution flags in this race. This is a very tricky track, but I believe a lot of the trickiness comes to do with trying to work around other cars. So we've already gone through our starting order. We've got the 31. That's a Ford Mustang on the inside, a Chevy Lumina on the outside, with Davey Allison throwback. Always a big fan of throwbacks, and especially the historic drivers. Davey Allison, a legend here. We've got Craig Davidson. We mentioned that Spirit Airlines paint scheme, and then Christian Ruse up top in the number 14. Can't quite see his sponsor. Oh, he's trying to show it to me. Smoke Pit. You got Rick Helms with the 3 Chi, I believe it's pronounced. Chris Papa in the 13 first page. And then Joe Nelson rocking the Marines, red, white, and blue. Once again, appreciate everybody tuning in on our Sim Racing Media YouTube channel. We are also on Twitter if you want to follow us at Sim Racing Media 1, and we have a Facebook page. But enough for plugging us. We've got ourselves a fantastic race about to get started here. The pace car getting ready, making that hard left turn, and now it's up to the drivers. We are ready. We are ready to go. The flag man gonna drop that green flag. Here it comes on the gas, and everybody trying to get everything they can right now. That's Vince Welch start call right there, but into turn number 1, the lead is held by Garrett Kinder, which we know has been fast. Second place, Mike Hamlin, getting out to a little bit of a gap compared to third place, Craig Davidson, who's already 3-4 car lengths behind. Side by side for fourth place as Ruse gets down, or up to the top. Rick Helms gets down to the inside of Ruse, and now down to the inside of the number 9 of Craig Davidson. He's going to try to take that position here, and he knows how important that is early on, racing for that championship. And now you see that 53 Dave Hunt diving in to take advantage of that hole that was left. Craig Davidson falls back 2 spots. Christian Ruse as well, 2 spots on the start. Joe Nelson sitting in the back, just kind of biding his time right now. Same with Chris Papa, who fell back fell back 1 spot. Dave Hunt so far gains 3 on the start, and that looked like Mike Hamlin might have got close to the wall there. As Rick Helms down to his inside, tries to take second place away. Garrett Kinder sees this right behind him and is loving it. Not enough side-by-side action for him for second, but meanwhile, Mike Hamlin now has to defend from Dave Hunt, getting down into turn number 3. Rick Helms all over the back bumper of Garrett Kinder. Now looking to the top side. Now I've got to assume there's only going to be 1 pit stop made in this race, so tires might be pretty important throughout the course of this thing. We will see what these guys have in mind for the early parts, but it doesn't look like the 75 of Rick Helms wants to give anything up. It looks like he wants to lead as he takes a wider entry than the 31 into turns 3 and 4 and slides a little bit wider. Mike Hamlin also slides a little bit wide coming out of turn number 4, but that's not going to give Dave Hunt much of an advantage right behind him as he looks to the inside, but the momentum sticks with the 28. Currently Currently, the fastest lap on the racetrack belongs to the 7th place car. That's Chris Papa in the first page Ford Mustang. Holds himself a 30.67. It's about half a second faster than the next fastest lap that we've seen, and I wonder if a lot of that may have to do with the draft, but we've missed a pass to the lead. Rick Helms is going to get out front and lead this lap. Now has himself about 2 car lengths in front of Garrett Kinder. We're side by side for 5th place, or we were for a moment, as Ruse looked down to the inside of the 9 of Craig Davidson. Davidson, we talked about, is leading the Xfinity Series points, but doesn't really have a whole heck of a lot of chance in the overall series points. That looks to be Mike Hamlin's battle locked up. But here's Dave Hunt now working down to the inside of the 28. Comes up to clear himself on that front bumper, getting down into turn 1. Now Ruse trying to work his way around the outside of the 9. Not quite enough there. Jumps down to the bottom. Is he going to have enough momentum? Looks like he's going to be side by side getting down into turn 3. Stays with it. Slides up just a bit. So does the 9 though. These guys single file out once again. Meanwhile, Rick Helms holding about a quarter of a second lead over the 31 Garrett Kinder. A little bit of a touch of the apron there out of the 75, and that gives Kinder a nice run coming up out of turn number 2. Gains a 10th in that moment. He's already less than a 10th back. He looks down to the inside, getting down into turn 3, but nothing doing there as the 75 Rick Helms closes the door, and Mike Hamlin is sitting here in front of a wallop of a battle here as the Sport Team Christian Ruse has finally made it to the outside of Craig Davidson. But where is he going to go with that? Meanwhile, the battle up front is still on fire. Kinder just a little bit slower that time, loses about a car length to the race leader Rick Helms, and Christian Ruse was able to complete that pass on Craig Davidson, as you guys just saw. Now he sets his sights on Mike Hamlin, who has been falling back since the start of this thing. He's only lost 2 spots, but it really seems like momentum hasn't been in his favor as now he looks up to the top side of the 53 Dave Hunt. Trying once more, and this is almost like an old school Daytona pack race where everybody is just waiting for the next guy to slip up, you know? You're just all over each other. This is an absolute blast. We're 10 laps completed out of 100. Here comes Ruse down to the inside. Slides up a little bit after touching the apron, has to get up out of the gas, and what does the 9 do? Does he try to make a move? Ruse doesn't really give up the inside. He still holds a lane, or leaves a lane up on the outside, not quite blocking, but not quite giving that lane. He's going to hold that position for now as the 9 slides a little bit wide. And I tell you what, I mentioned we're 10 laps into this race, now 11 laps completed as we've got a race to lead once again. Garrett Kinder is able to take advantage of the 75, having a bit of a slower 3 and 4, and now he is going to take the lead, and it seems like he's gapping him by about 2 car lengths. But like we mentioned, or like I was mentioning there, getting to be 11, 12 laps into this race, these tires are heating up, even though it's a relatively cool racetrack compared to what we're used to seeing, as now you see that 31 sliding up, and we've got sliding second place, or third place rather, Dave Hunt and Mike Hamlin getting sideways. A little bit of contact there as the 28 got sideways on the inside of the 53. Both drivers making it through okay. But yeah, Garrett Kinder able to get back out to the front. Rick Helms falling back heftily now. I wonder if he maybe gave up a little bit too much. And yeah, like tires are definitely going to be a huge factor, as now Dave Hunt defending the top side against the 28 of Mike Hamlin. Hamlin does not want to be denied this third place. He's got it right now. He's got the run up on the top side, and Dave Hunt can do nothing to fight it. Meanwhile, back in the pack, Joe Nelson has gotten around Chris Papa. Not sure if there's anything that happened to Papa or if he's maybe just kind of biding his time. Got his tires a little bit too hot, but I'm thinking tires being too hot might be what happened to 75 of Rick Helms as he went, you know, pedal to the metal at the beginning of this thing. Now he's touching that apron there. That can't feel good for that race car. Now Mike Hamlin trying to chase him back down. Meanwhile, Craig Davidson, he's sitting in 6th place. That's definitely not where he wants to be if he wants to comfortably bring back this Xfinity title. They're side by side just in front of him, Dave Hunt and Christian Ruse. These guys are really just trying to figure out where they're going to fall into the pecking order as these tires wear out. Who's worn out more stuff, trying to race hard, and who has taken it easy to be able to just kind of cruise on past. As we see now Ruse back to the top side of Dave Hunt. Hunt, meanwhile, trying to work the inside of the 28 of Hamlin. None of these guys, I mean, all three of these guys have the firm belief that they're getting out of this with both spots. But the unfortunate thing is that one guy's going to, you know, lose one and one guy's going to lose two. So that was my obvious Rick Allen, but these guys are not giving an inch. 16 laps into the race, 16 completed on lap number 17. Ruse working that top side as best as he can, but Dave Hunt just holding a little bit too tight to the bottom. And as Ruse almost gets the wall there, I thought he might have, and now Rick Helms under fire from Mike Hamlin. Hamlin goes ahead and takes 2nd place. Helms has no fight left in him for right now. Gives up that spot pretty easily as you see him touch the apron once again. Here's Dave Hunt, still defending on the inside, going to be able to use the 75 of Helms as a pick. Now Ruse has no choice but to try that bottom side once again and figure out what can he do to get around this 53. You gotta believe the 75 is going to be a relatively easy pass for him right now. He's been putting himself a good fight up against Hunt. Ruse trying to keep himself down to the inside. Looks like he's still there, getting down into 3. Helms gives plenty of space, rocking the top side, but Ruse slides up that top, or slides up off that bottom just a little bit. Meanwhile, Garrett Kinder has pulled himself out a 2-second lead over Mike Hamlin. Ruse getting massively close to the 75 of Helms there. Not wanting to give an inch, but needing to at that point. Able to get the job done now. And just want to give a big shout out to Dave Hunt, currently sitting 4 positions up in an 8-car race. He is definitely our biggest mover of the race so far, and it looks like he wants to move a little bit more as he's getting just a little bit closer to that 28 Mike Hamlin. Hamlin has been one of the best drivers we've had all season, and obviously he leads the overall points by a hefty margin. But tell you what, if you're Dave Hunt right now, that's still somebody you want to pass. It doesn't really mean anything in the long run. That's a pass you can flex on, as Christian Ruse is trying to make a pass now on Dave Hunt. These guys have been working each other over for the better part of this early portion of the race. Ruse has not been able to get the run or get the pass completed on that 53 of Dave Hunt. Once again, appreciate everybody who's tuning in here on Sim Racing Media's YouTube channel live. Go ahead and drop who your favorite driver is. We'll go ahead and give a shout out here as well. So far, this racing has been pretty spectacular, though. These guys have been giving room, racing side by side, and now you're seeing Ruse try to figure out a way. This is some long game action happening right here. He's been slowly catching up to the back of the 53, and now he's within a car length or two. He's just trying to figure out where can I get the momentum to get side by side with him. And then where can I just pull ahead? Is now he's got a run down to the inside. He's skirts down to the inside. Able to get the nose to his door, but now he's rocking the inside right up next to the apron, and that gives the 53 of Dave Hunt the advantage to pinch him down, or the possibility rather to pinch him down. And you saw that right there. Ruse had nowhere to go. Just to fall back in, and now Ruse trying the top side once again. He knows that if he can get that momentum, he's got himself a good shot, but gets a little bit squirrely coming up out of turn number 4. Not quite able to complete that pass. Go ahead and jump back to Joe Nelson trying to chase down Craig Davidson, who might have himself a little bit of damage. He's fallen himself back 3 positions from where he started, and that is clearly not good news for the number 9 Spirit Airlines Ford Mustang. As he works through 3 and 4, he's trying to defend Joe Nelson. Sits in 7th place. Dave Hunt. Dave Hunt's in the pits. Lap 26 out of 100. And I'm not going to lie, I'm going to go ahead and be somewhat unprofessional for a moment. Fuel limit is 75%, so I believe that puts us at a 3-stopper. Apologies for not getting those facts in beforehand, but Garrett Kinder continues to lead the race by 2.5 seconds over Mike Hamlin, who's worked himself back up to where he started. I talked a little bit earlier on about how he seemed to be falling back at the start. Maybe he was just conserving his tires for the middle part of this run, as he now sits in 2nd place. Once again, that's right where he started. Garrett Kinder, also your pole sitter, back to where he started, sitting in 1st place. Christian Ruse, not too far behind this 28 of Mike Hamlin. He's found himself in 3rd place, up 1 spot from where he started. Rick Helms has fallen back to 4th place after being as high as the lead. Still up 1 spot from where he started. And then Joe Nelson, able to get around Craig Davidson at this point in the race. Sits in 5th place. He's now on the over after Dave Hunt made a pit stop. Not sure if that was a scheduled or unscheduled pit stop out of Dave Hunt, but we'll continue to keep an eye on that, as he is not too far behind these guys. Definitely on some quicker tires. While we have a moment before we get into more pit stops, we'll see what happens here. But we're going to go ahead and give you a chance to turn it up. Hear the sounds of your favorite drivers racing, and we'll be right back with you. Well, we saw under break there that Garrett Kinder came down to the pit lane. Craig Davidson is also on pit lane. Mike Hamlin's still out there. Looks like he's coming in now. Christian Ruse now takes the race lead as Dave Hunt is right in front of him. He's the first one to come down to the pit lane. Christian Ruse leads the race over Joe Nelson now. Dave Hunt is up in the wall there. Could that have been Chris Papa? Looks like a little bit of right side. Yeah, he hits that wall once again. There's some big smoke there coming out as Christian Ruse takes some avoiding action there. See if he comes around this time to pit. Yes, he does. Christian Ruse comes into pit, and now Joe Nelson had the chance to stay out to lead a lap, and he's going to come into the pits this time around as well, handing the lead over to Dave Hunt, who now sits about 6 seconds or 5.5 seconds in front of Garrett Kinder. It'll be interesting to see what that tire discrepancy is as these guys work through the run, and already Garrett's a tenth quicker. A tenth and a half throughout the course of this lap. These guys work their way through this run. Keep you updated on what these lap times look for everybody. I think this top ticker will tell the time. Hunt with a 31.41, Kinder with a 31.20, and I would imagine it's pretty similar to that throughout the course of this run, as Hunt's probably 8 laps fresher on tires, as Chris Papa has come out of the pits here to make his first pit stop of the day. These guys clearly splitting it into 3 stops and 4 if Dave Hunt wants to split it. That could be a tough ask to pit stop. Things starting to spread out now here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, which is generally how things go here, given the fact that they run 600 miles at this track. It kind of becomes a habit to just kind of slow down, get some reps in, get some laps in, work your way a little bit closer to the end before you really make moves, and just do your best to try to keep yourself. And especially with these different strategy calls coming to effect, as we watch Garrett Kinder has already been over a second back of the lead after Dave Hunt took the lead. It was 0.3 of a second quicker that last time around. It's now under 4 seconds for that Hunt and Kinder. Mike Hamlin pitted just a little bit after these guys as well. 1 lap after Kinder and 9 laps after Dave Hunt. And it's got to be kind of hoping that these guys come back to him a little bit more. But Christian Ruse, he's somebody who really gamble with a longer stint there, going 36 laps on his first set of tires there, and that's the longest of these lead lap kind of top 5 contenders here. Joe Nelson and Chris Papa obviously have followed him in on that time around, but they were behind him and kind of towards the back throughout most of this race, unfortunately for them. So Christian Ruse is going to be kind of the one that we're focused on that later stop strategy. As of right now, it's been working pretty well for Garrett Kinder. Lap 33, that's about as close to a third of the race as you can get. Dave Hunt came in on 25. In a 100-lap race, fractions are easy. That's a quarter of the way through the race, and so you would have to wonder if he's thinking about potentially making that extra pit stop instead of making it a 2-stop or making it a 3-stop. Garrett continues to bring that lead down. It is 2 2/10 this time around. He's gaining massively on the 53 of Dave Hunt. See it shrinking where Kinder is now 1.7, getting to 1.6 back on Garrett Kinder. That is less than half a straightaway now between these top two. And if Dave Hunt is going to pull off this 3-stopper, you've got to believe he's coming in within the next 6 laps. That's lap number 44 now completed on lap 25. Does he risk it? Try to make these early pit stops and see if he can't gain time lost. Half a second. Garrett Kinder with a huge run coming up out of turn number 4 this last time around. About a 1/10.5 quicker. Now it's 2 car lengths. Does Dirty Air do anything for him? And let's see how the 53 tries to fight it. He comes up off the corner a little bit wide. Doesn't have any fight for the 31 of Garrett Kinder. And now Kinder's going to go ahead and take the lead. He got into turn 3. 53 stays up top, but doesn't quite have enough fight in him. New leader, Garrett Kinder, back out front once again. Seconds off the lead right now, and I know that's a little bit more than where he was when he pitted, but that's got to feel pretty good for him. He's sitting 1 spot off of where he started, but given Dave Hunt's tire strategy right now, I think that gap's going to fall back to him pretty quick if he's anywhere near as quick as Kinder, which actually looks like this last time around Dave Hunt was a little bit quicker. Oh, no, my bad. I was looking at that. Dave Hunt was much, much slower. Almost 0.8 of a second. Mike Hamlin is actually Garrett Kinder on the racetrack right now. And Christian Lewis is doing his absolute best to try to chase down Mike Hamlin. Rick Helms, we saw out front early on, 5th place right now, which is definitely an accomplishment, but not where he wants to be after being far up front as the race lead. Rick Helms sitting in 5th place. Still 1 spot ahead of Craig Davidson, but likely won't be enough in terms of his bid at the Xfinity Series Championship. As these guys have a couple different championships that they run through. And one of them was on the line tonight, or still is actually, but might need a little bit of help coming the way of Rick Helms if he wants to take that one home. So meanwhile, Garrett Kinder is going to come up off of turn number 4 and complete the first half of this race. We are halfway through this race here at Charlotte, and well, we had ourselves an action-packed first 20 laps, a strategy-filled 20 through 50. I believe strategy is going to be the call throughout the end of this race if it stays green, but there is always that chance of a caution flag at a track like Charlotte. I mean, the walls can jump out at you coming out of the corners. You could definitely have some incidents with the cars, but you definitely can't throw out a caution flag or something to throw a wrench in one of these guys' plans. It's Dave Hunt. There he is, making it a 3-stopper. Comes into the pits after 50 laps completed. Dave Hunt. We'll see what he's got as Garrett Kinder stays out. Obviously, Mike Hamlin and Christian Ruse, Rick Helms, they follow along with the 31 of Garrett Kinder. So Dave Hunt, the first one to make a second pit stop, and he's going to get lapped now by Garrett Kinder. It's going to be tough for him to try to get that lap back. He's got one pit stop to make, though, in comparison to the rest of these guys, who also only have one pit stop to make. So Dave's got to be hoping to put down some hot laps. He's going to be all by himself here, but we'll definitely keep an eye on that. As meanwhile, Garrett Kinder goes on to about a 4-second lead over Mike Hamlin. Let's just take a moment to ride on board with Mike Hamlin. Let's see what he is working with. This late in the run, he's putting laps on his tires just about. Listen to how late it is before he can drop a little throttle. Personally, I think that makes for good racing and makes for drivers making a difference. Speaking of drivers making a difference, Dave Hunt is hoping that he can make the difference, but also hoping for his pit crew to make this difference. Going with the extra stop, everything's got to be flawless for them. He's got to be perfect on the racetrack, not lose any time, and the pit crew has to be perfect, not losing any time. It's about 45 seconds he's got to make up on Garrett Kinder right now. They've both got to make one more pit stop. Kinder has been virtually unbeatable since he's joined us here on this series. 2 wins in the Xfinity Series of 3 starts. Got himself a truck win as well. He's been gapping Mike Hamlin. And Christian Ruse has also been catching up to the backside of Hamlin. The gap was up to 3.5 seconds before. It is now 1.2, closing in favor of Christian Ruse. That smoke pit Camaro looking pretty good, though. I'm a big fan of the green and purple combination there, and this car works it in well with the black. It's not too much, but I'm also a fan of this 75. It's neon, it's pink, it's got 3-chi on it. A little obnoxious, but hey, it's still fun. I don't know. Kind of fits my style, I guess. Got Joe Nelson here. We haven't talked about him in a little while. Rocking the number 76, red, white, and blue Marines Chevy Camaro. And, obviously we are fond of anybody who has served. We've got a couple of service members that I'm thankful to work with here at SRM. And so we're thankful to anybody who has, put themselves out there to serve. Jump back up to the front here is Mike Hamlin trying to defend on Christian Ruse, and Ruse is actually catching up to Garrett Kinder now. As these laps continue on, I have to believe these guys are about 6 laps away from a pit stop here. Dave Hunt has caught up by about 10 seconds so far, so we'll see what the next 6 or so laps can bring him. He's going to have a little bit of time on old tires and then 25 laps on fresh tires to try to bring him home. Do with Mike Hamlin, Christian Ruse. getting ready to duke it out for second place here on lap 61 out of 100 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Ruse entering in a little bit wider. Looks like he's trying to run that seam. Meanwhile, Hamlin trying to stay down below it. Kind of seeing where that's benefiting the 14 coming up out of the corner. He's able to get on the gas just a little bit earlier, and that's actually a really nice run there by the 53 on much fresher tires, separating this battle. Probably not what the 14 wanted to see, but Mike Hamlin is definitely happy to see a moment before the pit stops. A moment to breathe before defending again on Christian Ruse. Seems to like that outside a little bit more than Hamlin does. Garrett Kinder's into the pits early. He doesn't want to be short pitted by anyone behind him. Now he's just got to hope for an absolutely flawless stop, and this could play into Dave Hunt's hands if that's long enough on this 31's tires to really make a difference. We'll find out. We've got 37 laps left to find out, but Mike Hamlin now inherits the race lead as Christian Ruse is back once again within 2 car lengths of him. Lapped cars up in front, Chris Papa and Dave Hunt. Papa falling back, Dave Hunt driving away. Joe Nelson has come into the pits, and Garrett Kinder has come out, about to be swallowed up by the leaders, potentially. Already swallowed up by the leaders. Garrett Kinder is 1 lap down. Dave Hunt only about 6 seconds in front of Kinder. Hunt still has to pit, so that could be disastrous for his strategy unless he were to get a caution flag, which seems unlikely at this point, but Charlotte Motor Speedway is a wild track. Stranger things happen. Now you got to think these guys will be pitting soon. You want to be the first to pit last. Garrett Kinder has definitely put himself into that category to being the first to pit last. These guys are racing each other hard here as Ruse within a car length here, up onto the back bumper. Now looks to the top side, doesn't quite have enough of a run, crosses him over down to the inside. Nothing doing there as Ruse rocks the bottom. Hamlin has a strong run up top and is able to hold on to the race lead. Hamlin staying low though. I've got to wonder if that means he's going to come into the pits this time. He rocks that bottom side once again. He's checking up, getting down to the apron. He's going to come into the pits. Christian Ruse takes the lead. And right behind him is Garrett Kinder. Can he hold him back at all? Can he make any sort of difference? Doesn't look like Garrett Kinder has put himself back on the lead lap. He's done himself a phenomenal job throughout the course of this race. Mike Hamlin in the pits right now. We'll see if Christian Ruse comes in. Yes, he does this time around. Rick Helms going to inherit the race lead. We'll see if he comes in this time. Helms stays out, so does Davidson. Remember, these two racing for the Xfinity Series title. The overall championship is pretty much fallen to Mike Hamlin, but these guys still racing for a championship. There's over 30 laps to go. Garrett Kinder is out here racing for a second and a half off of Dave Hunt. Remember, Dave Hunt still has one more pit stop to make. The 3-stop strategy just wasn't going to quite be enough for him today, but he could still hope for potentially a caution flag or something like that. Maybe give him another shot. Rick Helms into the pits, following Chris Papa. Garrett Kinder getting the back bumper of Dave Hunt, though. Within 3/10 now, close massively through 3 and 4. Hunt puts her to the outside, and wide goes that 31. Hunt doesn't want to give him much space, but he's not going to have much choice as they get down into the 2. Big move on the outside for Garrett Kinder to take second place. It's effectively the race lead as Dave Hunt still has one pit stop to make, and I believe Craig Davidson does as well. He actually has a win since lap 33. He's coming up on 40 laps completed on this tank of gas. 38 this time around. So we'll see if he comes in this time. Goes pretty wide there, but comes back down to the bottom. Here comes the number 9, Craig Davidson, into the pits. Garrett Kinder takes a hold of the race lead now. With 28 laps to go. Looks to be in command of this thing. Dave Hunt in second place. Still with likely one pit stop to make here. Almost a third of a lap down at this point. Garrett Kinder seems to have played the strategy card fairly well so far. Meanwhile, Christian Ruse is trying to chase down Mike Hamlin once again. These guys are back at it. This time there's a second and a half of a gap between them. But last time around, Ruse was a little bit quicker. This time around, the same score was a tenth quicker as we watch him try to race or chase down Mike Hamlin. We're going to go ahead and take one last quick turn it up break. We will be right back with you.
Man, I just had pretty decent long run speed through that the first couple runs. My third run of the race was absolutely abysmal for me. I don't know what happened. Don't know what I changed, but man, it was bad. So luckily, I had some pretty good first couple runs there, and was able to just bring it in, get a big enough gap. I pretty much knew my pit strategy coming in. Just split it into thirds and hammer down. Man, I really don't know. Like I said, that third run, I don't know. I just fell off the face of the earth with it. I came out of pits on that last stop with a 13, 14 second lead, and got Christian caught up to me within 6 seconds. So, you know, if I didn't have such a decent first couple runs, he would have overtaken me pretty easily. But yeah, no idea what happened. Like I said, just fell off the face of the earth. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was pit strategy because splitting into thirds. Did 33.66, and then whatever happened after that happened after that. But yeah, it was a fun race. Really clean. These guys, they a lot of green flag racing in this league, so a lot of fun. I want to thank first and foremost these guys over at the Midday Racing League. I hopped in, 4 or 5 races left in the season, and they've been very welcoming. A lot of fun to race with, a lot of fun to cut up with, and voice chat. So big shout out to them. As far as the sponsors go, I want to thank Kinder Farm and Ranch and Ratchet Speed Shop. Been with me since day one. Those guys are just absolutely great. They like to go back and watch these races, so you'll get a couple more views on this video for sure. And man, it's just great having the support. Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers. If you want to keep your stuff hot and keep your stuff cold for cheaper and lower than anybody else, make sure you check out Big Frig and Cross 5 cattle coolers at bigfrig.com. Ray Page and Andy over at Wolfpack Racing. Some excellent guys to know. Great connections within the industry. So really, really cool guys that I get to conversate with and be friends with. All my teammates across various leagues I'm in, Reaper Racing, Poman Motorsports, Velocity Motorsports, and then a lot of the short tracking effort that Superior Performance Motorsports puts in. Big shout out. What they were saying is Christian Roos won the or not Christian Roos, Craig Davidson won the championship. So a big shout out to him, and if it's not him, then congrats to whoever the actual champion is. But appreciate you broadcasting it too. Well, shout out to the champ. He's I think he's another Okie as well. So big shout out to him, and just looking forward to getting this thing started back up. I don't know when they're going to fire the next season off, but I sure like racing with these guys.
I'm doing good, sir. How about you? Yeah, Mike is good everywhere, and I knew that I could run him down with a little bit fresher tires. So on both of the green flag stops there, I tried to stay out an extra lap or two, trying to just let him eat up his tires. Even 1 or 2 laps made a little bit of a difference, and then towards the end there, I don't know. I was just able to run him down. I was really chewing my stuff up, trying to get there. I knew I had 14 seconds behind Garrett when I got out of the pit, so I was trying to make ground on him. I figured Mike would have made a little bit more ground too, but I ended up catching him first. I was lucky enough to get his draft and just get around him. He's always a fun one to race around. Always respectful, clean. So it was real good to battle there throughout pretty much the entire race with him. Yeah, honestly, I just kind of kind of went as long as I felt like I could. I thought about potentially I'm tucking in with Dave there and kind of splitting the race in quarters. But with my luck, I cautioned him to come out late and I'd be down a set of tires compared to everyone else. So no, I kind of knew from the get-go for the most part that I was going to try to run out as long as I could. Maybe not run or empty, but try to get a lap led because I knew I needed those bonus points as well. So just tried to get as far as I could, as long as I could on a run, I guess. Not use up the tires too much. I babied them for a little bit there at the beginning, and then just try to make up as much ground as I could. And it seemed like each time I came out of the pits, I ended up farther and farther behind the leader. He was on rails today. Yeah, so I have a different admin that runs the points for this league. However, based on our math, I do believe Craig got me by 2 points based on finishing position and a couple extra bonus points that he got. So Craig is the champion as far as we can tell as of right now. He would like to have an interview if you would have him as well. Excellent. I got to thank the Smoke Pit, Lafler Labor Services, 1-3 Speed. Chris Papa's the head guy there, who was racing with us today and has been with us the past couple seasons. Awesome guy. He's on all my cars. I got some of his gear. Huge thanks to them. Extreme Automotive Detailing. The other guys here at the league making this a fun, clean race. I know our car counts have kind of dwindled the last couple of weeks, but it's always good to get some clean racing out here, no matter how many people there are. And then finally, you guys at SRM. We couldn't have a broadcast without you. We really appreciate your guys' support the past couple seasons, and we look forward to our future endeavors together. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right. I struggle here. Either I burn the right front off or I save too much. I can never find that middle ground, right? So at the beginning, I saved and quite a bit, and I was catching Garrett towards the end. And then the middle run, I pushed too hard and burned it up. And then the late run, I saved too much, and then Christian got around me, and then by that time it was late run, and I couldn't get back to him. So I have a history with this track of having that kind of same issue. But overall, like I said, I'm points racing. I'm doing what I can. I knew that Garrett was fast. He pretty much had the win wrapped up. So I was pretty much racing anybody behind me with like Christian and those guys. So at that point, it was like, hey, let's get some laps led. And then after that, we'll see what happens. Yeah. He got to my outside and I kind of lifted and I could have fought harder. I could have went and stayed high and made him take low lane and pinched him, but it just didn't make sense. Like I said, we were trying to towards the end, both of us on used tires, and I just didn't want to take a chance of a caution, to be honest with you. I'd rather see it stay green because it would in my favor to stay green, I think. If it would have bunched back up, I mean, anything could have happened. So I saw him coming. He kind of got to my outside, and by that time, it was nothing really I could do about it, especially going into one. And he had a really good line in 1 and 2. He was able to rip the top side and get a heck of a run out. So it was just made more sense just kind of let him go, fall behind, and see if I can get it back. And I was never able to get back to his bumper. My guys at Full Set Graphics do the paints for me, and the esports organization I work with, Mishmash Gaming. I appreciate everything they do for us and keep us running here. Yeah, it looks like I have, I don't know, 80 something, 70 something point lead. I didn't know it was that big, to be honest with you. Like I said, I've been just trying to be consistent. Yeah, like I said, I've been consistent trying to stay getting top threes, and consistent week in and week out, so it helps. Hi, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah, I'd say more of a down day than anything. It's pretty ugly, but enough to get the job done. Things fell my way. No, not too much. I mean, Rick is an extremely fast driver, but throughout the season, sometimes has a tendency to overdrive a little bit. So that's again, I think kind of what happened today. He fell back a little bit as well with myself. It's just really hard to keep the tires on the car today on the track. Yeah, the important thing I think is the second round of pit stops. I knew I had to stay out as long as I possibly could to try to get that bonus point for the lap lead, and thankfully I was able to do that before my tires completely went away. So that helped in the end there. And then the other, I guess, important battle was holding off Dave Hunt there at the end. That was a battle for position, and it would have been, I think a three-way points tie if he would have passed me. So that would have been interesting. Yeah, yeah, we were both a lap down, so it wasn't probably catching the eye there, but he was on that different pit schedule, so he was on a little fresher tires, and I kind of figured he'd be able to pass me, and 'cause he ran me down, got within a half second, and then I guess our tires kind of evened up, and I was able to kind of maintain about that half second in the last few laps there to keep that position, or it would have been really interesting points wise. Yeah, I mean, most just want to thank Christian and Evan. They do by far the legwork in this league to put it on every week, and financially and everything else. So, big thanks to them to keeping it running. And if anyone's out there watching this, come join us. Great, we can grow the league a little bit more. Get a few more people out there. We're small, but I think as you saw today, it's a clean league, and it's a pretty competitive one too. There you go, man. Come join us on the track. All right. Thanks. And thanks for everything you guys do and your company up there in the booth as well.